To Sugar Highs thinking it was going to be a mini series. What was your reaction when you learned that it had been picked up for a second season? And was there a particular aspect about Tab that you wanted to dive deeper into?
As an actor, you're always happy to get more work. So season two was like it was great, but Out TV liked what they saw because season one came out while we were filming season two, so we didn't even have a fan base yet.
Mm,
So it was cool to be filming season two as season one is like having episodes come out. Um, so I was just excited that we could dive deeper into these characters, and we had so much fun filming season one. So it's like, yay, more fun. And then yeah, with Tab season two, it was good because season one, you know, Tab's just kind of like he's got his shirt off. He's kind of, not the sharpest tool in the shed. I don't like to say he's dumb. He just doesn't know stuff. Like I'm not dumb, but if you put me with an astrophysicist, I don't know what they're talking about. um, but season two was great because when I read the scripts, Tab goes through. He deals with a bit more emotional
mm.
things, and I was like, ooh, that'll be fun to do. Yeah.
So another side of your artistry, in preparation to play this character, you stepped into Tab by filling out online questionnaires as him, as well as creating your own playlist. Is that how you typically prepare for a role? And what led to that creative decision to dye your hair blonde?
Well, to dye my hair blonde, that was Tom, who's the writer, director, creator of the show. That was him because it's just a thing with TV. Even I'm sure if you watch a show and all the characters kind of have like the same hair color, their same kind of
Mm,
features, you're like, wait, which one is which one is who? So Tab was like, it's easy to have the blonde one. So that was their idea, and I love to like when I was in high school, I used to bleach my hair all the time. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. It really depends on what the role is. I think that when you are playing a character that is very fleshed out and you are, it's not just a small scene where you're like a cashier at a store. It's more fun because you have more information. You can flesh them out more, and you already know how it's written. But then you could also add layers of yourself and find out how it's going to really connect with you. So music is really big for me. Um, what does my character read? What
mhm.
do they like to do for fun? What Because when you start thinking about that, things become so much more like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And oh, like, what was their first concert? Where did they grow up? So it's kind of like a fun, almost like putting up together a puzzle.
It's like a fun exercise to get into your character. In addition to acting, you've also written and produced. How have your experiences behind the camera impacted the way that you approach your work on screen or vice versa?
Well, first and foremost, I've always been an actor. And when I wrote and produced and starred in Killer Day, that kind of came from Brandon, who is my co star, and myself. We have the same coach, and we were both kind of being frustrated about doing good work, in our coachings, but, not being able to get a meeting and, you know,
Mm,
no one would take our calls. So our coach was like, you guys come together and like create your own opportunity, write something. So we both decided that we're going to make something that we're both like an idea we're both excited about. And
mhm.
so as actors, you always know when you get an audition or when you book a project, it's always like, what does my character want? What are they going for? So to have two actors write something, because Brandon had written something before, so he kind of helped guide me through. But you're not a writer until you write something,
Mm.
and so I guess now I'm a writer. But we wrote it in a way that was very clear of what our characters wanted, um, the arc of the story, and it, also you're creating your own characters for yourself, so you can
Yeah.
able to write with fun ideas, and as long as you're excited about it, the creative juices will flow. So it helped me understand that when producers have to ask people for money, not fun. So I hate asking people for money. But you also understand that like time's of the essence. How can you
Mhm.
how can you write something to where it's like it minimizes the locations so you can basically get the most out of every dollar. So that helped me understand that for sure.
I think we're living in such an exciting time where there's so many different avenues for storytellers to create their own art. And like you were saying earlier, Tab brings such a happy-go-lucky spirit to this series, creates a lot of those comedic moments. How much of what we see is scripted versus improvised, and how have your experiences at the Groundling as well as Upright Citizens Brigade prepared you for this moment?
Well, yeah, Tab is definitely written. He's got some funny lines, but Tom is really good with letting us improv and add a button. Um, for the most part, he'll let me, well, all of us, he'll let us find the activity that we want to be doing.
Mm,
So usually we'll go in and we'll do kind of like a blocking rehearsal where it's like, all right, so you enter from here, here, what are you guys doing? So he gives us that freedom. So that's always fun. So I always tried to find like kind of like quirky things that Tab would be up to. Um, but yeah, from Groundlings and UCB really teaches you be in the moment and also be open to whatever your partner throws at you. And you know, there's a thing called yes and. So whatever
mm,
say or do, you take it, agree with it, and add to it instead of being like no. So yeah, improv and having like an aloof character also it makes it fun for me because it's not always so serious and yeah. So training helps.
yeah, it brings a lot of levity to this series. And like you're saying, the chemistry between the three roommates feels so authentic and grounded. How did you, Sam, and Adam build that bond?
So the way we shot is, you know, we didn't shoot in a studio. We were always on location. Uh,
Mm,
so when you're on location, sometimes you have like a holding area. So this is like, okay, this is where you guys hang out, and you know maybe they use like Adam first scene, so he's filming for an hour, and it's Sam and I, and then like they switch setups, and then the three of us go. So we were always together and talking, or you know, talking about YouTube videos, or I was always asking them questions about Canada. um, and you know, you get to know each other, and then also on our days off or something, you know, we'd get together and watch a movie, or we'd go out to eat. Um, and then after getting to know each other from season one, and then the show coming out, you share that experience together.
mhm,
So no matter what, you always have that underlying like we will always have season one of two of Sugar Highs that like locks us together for the rest of our lives because it's a shared experience. Um, and yeah, I mean, we just laugh. We're three really different dudes, but we get along, and you know, just like any friends do, we tease each other, and it's all about laughing. But we could also have good talks.
mm.
So that helped um, build our chemistry because we got to hang out so much outside of when we weren't on camera.
Beautifully said. And this is also the longest that you've lived with a character. What's been the most surprising part about the experience thus far? What's been the biggest takeaway?
Well, I will say that once the show came out, people I get a lot of messages, people talking to me as if Tab is a real person, um, and um, lots of unsolicited photos, which is flattering, but you know,
Mm,
um, but I think that it's nice to almost be like, this is Tab, but it's
yeah.
also nice to walk through life knowing that you know he's with me, I'm him, and he's me, and um, he's a he's layers of my experience through life. So
Mm,
that's how you breathe in and make you know humanize him. So um, yeah, I'm really lucky to be able to play a character that's so fun like that because I love to laugh and I am very kind of like So to have a character like that that you can have fun with is, you know, it's great for me. It's such a gift.